Hi, guys. Hope you're doing well today. It's Fred and Sheila with Hatfield McCoy Museum Adventures and Fred and Sheila Investigates.
Guys, you can look in the background, Buford Pusser, tell what this video is going to be about.
Mm-hmm.
Thumbnail's probably already told you, but
Right.
Sheila and I are going to do somewhat of a review. There's going to be some new evidence in here, new information, new possibilities, especially that Sheila has, and different people came up with. A lot of people, guys, you YouTubers, I say it all the time. Some of you all should be working for the CIA. Some of you very smart.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a motive for doing these videos other than the truth.
Right.
Again, we don't have a dog in this fight other than somebody has influenced the TBI and the prosecutor's office there to reopen or relook into the Buford Pusser case and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Sheila and I goes where the evidence goes. Sheila and I, some people get upset. Don't get upset because we don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that's not cool.
If you'll show us with proof different things, we'll go with you. We go with evidence. We go with the proof. Just because we are not easily persuaded of something, because we're told the sky is purple, doesn't mean that we're not going to look at the sky and see if what we're being told is the truth. You know, one big factor in this Pauline Pusser case is the autopsy. We're going to cover this autopsy in a minute, especially the important parts of it. Autopsy is hard to understand because they use these medical terms that the common person doesn't know, but
doesn't understand.
Yeah, and we've looked them up and tried to make notes.
Try to.
And so it may help you better understand the autopsy. You're going to be surprised when you look at this autopsy. You're going to be surprised. You know, sometimes in an investigation, you have to look at what is not there. You're always looking for evidence, but sometimes it's the evidence that you don't find that's the most important. I know that's hard maybe for some people to understand, but like this autopsy, they done an autopsy and dug her up, made a big deal out of it, and the conclusion was that she was shot by a firearm, a gun. Her death was a homicide, and it was a gunshot.
Right.
We're going to read you the newspaper of August the 13th, the very next day after the shootout, after the ambush, and the newspaper, McNairy County newspaper, the very next day on August 13th, 1967, says that she was shot and killed by a gunshot. We need an autopsy 58 years later that told us the same thing, basically. But you're going to see how people can word things or leave wording open-ended till you can
take it either way.
Yeah. You can take it either way and they can dish it out either way. Well, it's possible this. It's possible that. It's likely this. It's likely that. Guys, that's not what we prosecute people here in America on in our criminal justice system. We don't prosecute them on likely.
More than likely.
I believe. More than likely. I believe. Could have been. May have been. Possibly. Possibly not. That's not what we prosecute and get convictions. And we've said it before. We'll say it again. Getting an indictment on somebody, there's never been an indictment on Buford Pusser. He's been dead for 51 years. Pauline's been dead for 58 years. There's not even an indictment on Buford, but if there was, it wouldn't prove his guilt. It just proves somebody has sat down and convinced a grand jury that maybe we should send this to trial. I hope that's the way it goes one day. I hope there's a college, a law class, or some good lawyers out there that team up, says, hey, let's go pro bono, let's represent Buford Pusser. Let's prove his innocence. Let's file a lawsuit for the family. The granddaughter's still out there.
Yep.
She's been, it's funny that how things like this come up after everybody in the family's dead. After the doctors are dead, the deputies are dead, the children are dead. All we've got is a brother and a granddaughter, looks like to me, and Sheila. Everybody's dead. We can just say what we want. That granddaughter has the right to get her a good lawyer or lawyers, and they're out there that will file a suit. Now, the bad thing about when you're involved in something like this, you got qualified immunity. Law enforcement agencies and systems have qualified immunity. Whatever they do as long as it's not in their personal field. Now, you can sue somebody in their official capacity and
Personal.
Personally. And that's what needs to happen here. And that way people's got more, they'll start watching what they say and do more. And which brings this up to this point. Guys, we're going to have a disclaimer at the end of our video. Anything we say is our opinion.
Right.
Allegedly. Speculation, lack of information leads to speculation. We try not to slander. We try not to defame. We try not to libel ourselves and say something that we know is not true. We try to do that. If we make a mistake and we say something that's provable that you can correct us on, please do.
We would appreciate that very much.
We've always said that, ain't we, baby? We don't want to put out false information. We don't want to be like those people on that stage doing that news press conference, slandering Buford Pusser's reputation, family name.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
We're going to start this video out pretty much where we left off with number 3. This will be number 4. Wasted this much time. Just convene a grand jury and see if you get an indictment. You know, the prosecutors keep saying in their interview, we've watched it over and over and over again on different channels and YouTube channels. That prosecutor, Mark Davison, says that he could get an indictment. Go get it. Go indict this dead man of 51 years. Go indict him. And let's get this thing into court. Let's agree to go ahead and indict. See if you can get an indictment. Let's turn it into a film. Because that's what some people's after here. You know, money's the root of all evil. And they say they got a tip. Well, the tip that more than likely they got was from a YouTuber, a bus driver that does tours. That's an author that's wrote books on Buford. You know, this right here could be, they talk about in their thing there, they said Buford done all kinds of movies. It's like they're jealous because he did movies. But guess what's going to happen here, in my opinion? I believe that down the road, especially this YouTuber and this bus driver, and probably these prosecutors and TBI people, I believe you'll see Hollywood do a remake. Wow. Buford Pusser, second chapter, Buford Pusser, murder of Buford Pusser. There's money. There's money in movies. You can make money. And money is a great motivator. Money's the motivator of hit list, insurance scams, thefts, money.
Cover-ups, whatever.
Yeah. And even something like this. Not saying it is.
Right.
No. Not for everybody involved, but I guarantee you that you'll see some new books. You'll see some movies come out. I'm getting ahead of myself because it's in my notes, but these names are forever and ever going to be out there from now on. These people that was on that stage that done these ballistics, autopsies, medical exams, records, anything dealing with this case, their names are forevermore connected to Buford Pusser. If you've not Googled Buford Pusser lately, Google Buford Pusser. If you've not went to YouTube and typed in search Buford Pusser, do it. You're not going to see Walking Tall. You're not going to see his movies. You're not going to see his newspaper articles when he was stabbed 7 times or shot 8 times. You're not going to see that. You are going to see Mark Davison, and the TBI has called it a murder. He's a murderer. That's what you're going to see. Mark Davison is the first name that's going to come up. And then the Roush guy from the TBI, that's the names. And their names are going to be synonymous with Walking Tall and with Buford Pusser from now on.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, which we believe is wrong, but their names are forevermore going to be connected with his. And how? By taking the glory, by taking somebody that had worked for something all his life, or at least the latter part, and suffered stab wounds, gunshots, fights, car wrecks, and made a reputation for himself. Now, if you want to attack that reputation, why didn't somebody do it back in the day? What's the difference in TBI? We're going to show you an FBI file here in a minute, FBI record, a TBI record from 1967. August the 14th, 2 days later.
Okay.
TBI to the FBI. What was wrong with the TBI back then, Mr. Roush, director, or who it is on that stage? What happened to the TBI 58 years ago that everybody today is so much smarter than the TBI was back then? Or are they lying? Did they lie? Did Buford Pusser buy them off? Because they had the same case. They had the same evidence. They had the same, we let's leave the forensic out, because we all know that over the years we improve on forensic evidence. With autopsies we improve on. But you're going to see this autopsy has no bearing on this case. So the autopsy was for nothing more than to show a news group digging up a grave and putting that casket and going and doing an autopsy on a 58-year-old dead body. If you get an indictment, then we deserve to have a trial. Hill and I think you should, if you're going to make these allegations against somebody, prove your case. Because all he wants to talk about is that he could get an indictment. See, guys, getting an indictment and getting a guilty verdict from 12 citizens, totally different. Totally different. It just takes a probable cause just to believe that this crime happened, and we're going to have to indict, because we got to send it to trial to let them, and that's good enough. It sends it to another level of the justice system, so everything works in harmony to make sure everything's fair, not only for the defendant, but for the state or the prosecutor, who's. What happened to innocent until proven guilty?
Good point.
What happened to innocent until proven guilty? What happened to just being indicted for probable cause to being preponderance of the evidence? Guilty beyond a reasonable doubt by 12 members of the community, of your peers. What happened to being able to face your accuser? It says we're allowed to face our accusers in court. How can Buford Pusser face Mark Davison in court? How can they square off? How can he prove his innocence? He can't. He's dead. And we all know dead men
don't talk.
Not fair in no form or fashion. What they have done to Buford Pusser's reputation with no more evidence. Now, they say they've got 1,000 pages file on Buford Pusser. They say that. We got over 1,000 pages. Does that make somebody guilty? Because you got 1,000 pages? The last page of this That's the last page of this autopsy. That's a whole page. Got 6 lines on it. A whole page. You could go through these pages. The last 10 or 12 pages is nothing except lab reports, lab requests. I'm sending this to the lab. I'm sending that to the lab. Here's the case report number. Here's almost an empty page. But we've got almost 1,000 pages. See, don't be fooled, people. Don't be fooled. Always look at what somebody tells you and listen to how they word it. And here's a 16-page autopsy report on Pauline Pusser. 16 pages. Only 4 to 5 pages deal with Pauline Pusser's autopsy. Only 4 to 5 pages, and that's a half a page, but that counts as a page on this 1,000-page report. Means a lot when you got half a pages. Maybe a 500-page report by the time you put them together, but 1,000-page report. There's you a 16-page report with only 4 or 5 pages actually dealing with the autopsy. But it sounds good when you say, we got a 16-page report back from the autopsy on Pauline. No, you've actually got a 4 or 5-page report and then a couple of lines we're going to go over when we discuss the autopsy. You guys are going to be surprised, and we're not medical examiners. We're not pathologists.
By no means.
We didn't even stay at a holiday last night. We have done a little bit of research.
Yeah, that we do.
But you don't have to. All you do is read verbatim, line by line, on what he says. And what they say is they can't prove one way or the other how she shot, where she shot, when she shot. They can't. She's been shot and she's dead. Somebody's killed. She didn't shoot her.
Right.
That's what it says. But they want to use this autopsy in this press conference. Now they're supposedly got a gun that's been stolen years ago, stolen from the military. It was stolen from the military when they were switching over from M1s to M14s. And they've got this gun that's supposed to, but yet in the autopsy or anywhere, said they removed fragments of bullets. Fragments? Was there a shotgun involved? Are them pellets from a shotgun that's flattened and they're saying they're fragments, but when they really could be even a shotgun? See, anything's possible because we've read news articles and where the deputies and people have stated that they had M1s, they had 30 calibers, but they also had shotguns. Is that why it done so much damage to her head? That they don't even have enough bones there you'll hear them in their autopsy, they say not enough there. It could go either way. It could have been an entrance exit. It could have been, one person stated, rumors and bus tours. Rumors and bus tours. And that's what this investigation I feel it came from rumors and bus tours and a little bit of money, a little bit of notoriety, maybe a movie down the road was the motivation for reinvestigating this case. That's the motivation. Money, books, movie contracts, bus tours, and a little bit of fame. Don't worry about Buford's reputation. Don't worry about what he did trying to clean up McNairy County.
What good that he was doing. What good he did do from the past up to this point has now been tarnished because of what they're saying about him. I feel so.
And forevermore.
Yeah.
And forevermore. You will never look at Buford Pusser or Walking Tall
The same.
People will always have that doubt. Oh yeah, I remember when they found out that he killed his wife. No, they've alleged. They've not proven anything. They've got in the newspaper, they've got on TV, and they have alleged. They haven't even alleged. This prosecutor, to be an attorney, has even gone so far as to say, he did it. Because he's thinking that nobody out there, the family members, is ever, and they may not. I'm hoping there's some attorneys out there that says, hey, we've got a case here, guys. We'll take this for you. Granddaughter, we'll have her name on here after a while, but it's out there. Her last name's Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Stole the fame of a man who earned it simply by attacking him. They stole his glory. They stole his
That's what I was saying. They've done
reputation,
all that up,
his
all the hard
name.
work. Mm-hmm.
I've got a thing somewhere here that says all you've got when you was born is your father's name, and you want to keep it clean and not tarnish it and so forth.
I'll try to find that if you want.
No proof. There was no proof then. There's no proof now. I lost my train of thought earlier, but what I was talking about, the TBI, what makes the TBI today so much smarter than the TBI was that investigated this back in 1967 when they had the fresh blood on the hood? When they had, they're making a big thing about this blood splatter on the hood. Guys, we wasn't there. Could Buford have got out? Could he have exited his car? Could he have been shot? The medical exam, the medical reports, the doctor says he was shot at least two times, and maybe three.
Three, yeah.
In the face. Could the facial shot had already been? Could he be in shock?
Mm.
When he run around the car with his jaw hanging down, they said he had a piece of meat hanging down to his chest. Could that have been slinging as he goes by? You ever seen a dog or a deer or anything get shot? And you got this meat flapping while it's running off and you're slinging blood everywhere? Could that be Buford Pusser's blood on the hood when he run around the car to go to his wife to see if he could help her? Could it? We don't know. Is it a possibility? You're blank straight. It is. You better believe it's a possibility. It's exculpatory. So is the prosecutor going to say that? Well, that blood could have. No. They're not going to say that because that could favor
the other side.
That could favor Buford. So they just say, we don't know what this blood splatter came from. There's so many things it could have came from. So many things that it couldn't have came from. I won't go into all these possibilities. I won't bore you with that. Use your own imagination. You guys are great.
Yeah, they have done really well. Questions and stuff.
No press until records could be examined. Somebody on one of these videos that we put out said, y'all shouldn't have commented on this until the records came out, until the files were made public. Really? Maybe, just maybe, the TBI and the prosecutor, Mark Davison, shouldn't have held this press conference until they could have put the medical records out, until they could have put the ballistic records out, until they could have released the file. We shouldn't speculate. We shouldn't ask questions until the file comes out, but they can say it's going to be a while down the road before it's out. But let's go ahead and throw this out there and get everything. Let's get the rumor mill going. Do you not think, guys, ask yourself this, do you not think with the recovery, this guy drives the bus and gives tours, and the other guy that he hooked up with and says, I may have the stolen gun here, I may have a gun that's... Do you not think that when they examined that gun, that had it come back to match Buford Pusser, do you not think that the TBI
would be standing
or
there, yeah.
Mark Richards Davison would have been standing there with that gun and said, guys, it's a done deal. Here's the gun.
Case closed.
Here's case closed. Here's the gun. Here's the bullets. Here's the reports of the rifling. It's a match. Now, what does that tell you? Okay, there's the gun. Now go look for some of these mafia gang members and see which one of them had it. Because that doesn't mean, I don't care if you've got 5 guns that's got bullets that was in Pauline, that doesn't mean Buford Pusser was holding that gun. And if it does, then somebody should be doing DNA on that gun to make sure that it comes back to that Buford Pusser has handled that gun at some point. This is a investigation, guys. I'm not a genius. We sit here and go over things and look at them as a common sense people.
Layperson, yeah. Yep.
No press until the records come out. They shouldn't have come out with it until they had the case file ready to be released. But you can bet your bottom dollar that had that gun and ballistics matched, they would have been standing there with it telling you that. Again, that don't tell you that Buford Pusser had that gun or handled that gun. Just says they got a match for the bullet. Waste of taxpayers' dollars. Tennessee, you guys must be doing pretty good down there because this was a waste of tax dollars money. And we're going to get on Sebastian and little Summer Wells there in a minute. No arrest, no victim, no suspect. They're all dead.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to make an arrest whether people done it or not. The victim's dead. The suspect's dead. This was a waste of manpower, a waste of money, a waste of everything except for movie rights. Except for when these guys retire, or will they retire if the movie comes in? There's no reason to keep on working if we're working on a movie deal. Sad. I'm disappointed, and I won't. There's nobody to charge in this case. If everything they say was provable and done, and it's not, but if everything was, there's still nobody to charge. What are you going to do? The man can't defend himself. He's dead. If you want to charge somebody, shouldn't we have charged them 58 years ago?
How can that be a fair trial?
It's not fair. But
because
it's not
if
fair.
he's not there to tell his side of it, then it's
not fair.
It's imbalanced.
And for the legal system, for prosecutors and TBI officials to do that, and they know it's wrong. They know dead men don't talk. Anybody that's in law enforcement knows. What do you think police officers, guys? What do you think police officers, when they have to shoot or when they think they've got the right to shoot, they don't just shoot one round. He goes down. Boom, 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 boom. Dead man don't talk. If they've got, sometimes they don't even have the justification to shoot anymore. Cops has gone wild. But even if they got the justification, do we have to kill them? Do we have to? Sometimes you do. Sometimes drugs and different things. But sometimes you can see that clearly the gun drops. There's no threat. They fall away from the gun or the knife.
Yeah.
Shooting them on the ground. Boom, 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 boom. Do we have to do that?
No.
Don't have to. Are they justified? Probably. If they were justified in shooting one, you're justified in shooting 15. That's just the way it is. As long as till the threat.
Stop the threat. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing more than a publicity stunt for some self-serving public official. Sorry. That's what it is. Now, you guys can believe that it's not. You guys can support these people. That's fine. Everybody's got their own prerogative in life, their own
opinions.
Own opinions.
So that's okay.
We respect that.
Sure.
I say look at the evidence. When we go over this autopsy, look at the autopsy. When we go over some of these things that we go over coming up, look at them real good and think to yourself, wow, that don't make sense. See, because we didn't know Buford Pusser, don't know him. He's not one of our heroes in life. We're not here to take up for Buford Pusser. I done talked about Buford Pusser. I've said the most dishonorable thing I could say about him. He was not a United States Marine.
Yeah.
I would love to claim him as a Marine because everybody thinks he was a bad butt. He was bad. He'd make a good Marine, but he was a non-hacker.
Yeah.
He didn't make it through boot camp. He didn't graduate, so he was not a Marine. Contrary to what anybody tells you, contrary to what they've got the Marine Corps emblems in his display cases, contrary to what unless you see something there where he graduated boot camp or a picture of him going across that parade deck, and everybody says he was discharged from boot camp for asthma. That means he didn't make it through the Marines.
Yeah.
He got a medical discharge before So I'm not taking up for Buford Pusser. We said this a while back. We would do this for the same people that's on that stage there, dogging Buford Pusser. If we knew something for a fact, and we knew somebody else started something on one of them or said a rumor, and we could prove them different and knew it, Sheila and I would be on here, wouldn't we, babe?
Yeah.
That's us. That's what we do.
That's what we try to do.
That's why I became a police officer. That's why I wanted to take up for people. I wanted to, even in school, the bullies and different things. I was a little bitty fella, but I didn't like to see people beat up on. I could fight because I would fight. Taking up for big old heavy set people, and I was a little bitty fella, but they would call people fatso, and they would pick on, and I would fight with them. And I became a cop to do that. I went in the Marine Corps to do that. Sheila's the same way.
Yeah.
Whether it's kids at school that she don't like to see bullied, or it's just our nature. It's what we do. Mm-hmm. We would take up for those people on that stage, just like we're taking up for Buford Pusser.
Right.
Now, if somebody shows us something about somebody on that stage, and we think we can prove it, and they're guilty of doing something, you better believe we'd be the first ones to be making a video about it too, saying, look at here. And we have a feeling that with videos coming out and with people's names going out there now, people's going to start looking. Mm-hmm. They're going to start researching and saying, hey, let's see if they've got any connection. Let's see if their ancestors had any connection to Buford Pusser. Let's see. Wouldn't that be some discovery? Wouldn't that be some discovery, hypothetically, if Mark Davison's great-grandfather had something to do, had a falling out or something with Buford Pusser or Buford's father or somebody? We don't know that. Probably didn't. But you talk about good investigators out there. A good investigator can find that out. How about charging the state trooper who falsely riding DUIs? We covered that in the last one. Why would the sheriff take his wife on a call with him? We covered that. But guys, I've taken Sheila on many calls with me. Sheila's gone patrolling with me.
Sure have.
Somebody wrote and said, you couldn't do that. That's against the law to take. It's not against the law, fellas. If you're the sheriff of the county, if you're the chief of police, if you don't have a policy that says it's not allowed, the policy's written by the sheriff or the chief, and you're the man, and you want to say, hey, babe, you want to go with me? I'll go with you.
Ride-alongs.
Bring your gun with you. Bring 2 guns. Yeah. Something happens to me while I'm out there on a traffic stop, you make sure you protect yourself. But there's no law against Buford Pusser having his wife. He said in one newspaper article there, right after it happened, that him and his wife was talking about going to Florida. The next day, they were going to take a vacation and go to Florida for a few days. I can see me and Sheila riding along, cruising, just talking about something. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, car pulls up beside of them and opens fire. Now, one of the comments we found, I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe when I get to it, I'll pass over so you don't have to hear it again. But one of the comments, one of the inconsistencies that they said that Buford had was that he said that Pauline was shot in the front of the head.
Yeah.
In the forehead. You're driving your car. He said he looked over at her when he saw her shot in the forehead. Now, the cars were in front and behind and beside. They were moving up. He was trying to outrun them.
Right.
I don't know if you guys remember the Plymouth Ferry or not. Kentucky State Troop Police used to ride them, and I thought that was the coolest car because, man, they could tromp them things. They had the coolest sound to a big Plymouth Ferry you ever heard. Big old heavy car. But it had all kinds of power. I think they had a 454 or something in them. They had a big motor. I was just a kid then. But so Buford finally got away from them, so he could. But he said he looked over at his wife and seen her shot in the forehead. That very well could have been the shot that went through the side or the back. The autopsy says backward. The trajectory was going backward, forward. But it also says in another paragraph that you couldn't tell which way the trajectory was going because so much of the brain, so much of the skull was disfigured, scarred, and gone, and plastered over and wired together by the... Hard to tell anything about it. See, that's where you do these autopsies when it happens. She should have been sent that morning for an autopsy. Buford Pusser should have been sent that night when he wrecked for an autopsy. Do it then. You don't send them to the funeral home, embalm somebody, and then say, 58 years later, I think we'll dig her up and do an autopsy. That's nonsense, guys. That's a publicity stunt. But whatever I was talking about there,
You're talking about ride-alongs there.
right along. Okay. Let's move on down the line. Sheila, you got anything? Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything, I don't think.
I believe his two chief deputies, Moffett and Plunk, knew more than they probably let on, but stayed silent out of fear of Buford. Somebody wrote that.
Really?
See, we like the comments, guys. We like good and bad. Just don't get mean.
Mean.
Yeah, we don't. We won't take post off unless they're just out of the way. No need in that dialogue. You can speak your piece. But somebody said, I believe that two chief deputies, Moffett and Plunk, knew more than they probably let on, but they stayed silent out of fear of Buford. Okay, that's a logical question. Don't matter what we believe, it's what we can prove.
Yeah.
You know, they feared Buford. Well, Buford died 7 years
later.
7 years later. After Pauline, join anytime, Punk. Mm-hmm. But he died 7 years later.
Were they still working with him then?
Yeah.
So if they were afraid of him, why did they continue to work with him?
Well, that's one question. But Sheila, why after he died
didn't they
come forward and say, hey, whoo, that was a close one. Now that Buford's gone, we got something to tell you guys. TBI, come in here. We need to go back 7 years and you need to look at Pauline's death.
They still could have did it then at that time, though.
Who?
Those two, if they have known something, the two.
There was nothing to be known, babe. Again, no matter what people believe, you'll even hear Mark Davison. Mark Davison says some of them believe that this happened. Since when does a prosecutor prosecute or defame or slander somebody because of what somebody believes? This person here believes that Moffett and Plunk knew more than they let on. He has a right to believe that.
Or that's their opinion.
But when you're out here as a prosecutor, as a professional, and you're going on belief rather than evidence, you're held to a different standard.
Mm-hmm.
As an attorney and a prosecutor, you should know that. I don't want to really say this like this. And I could get an indictment. Getting an indictment is nothing compared to getting. Why don't he say, I could get a conviction? Guys, has any of you heard him say that up to now? Up to this point here, please copy and paste it for us to see.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody heard Mark Davison in any news conference tell those reporters out there, if he was alive today, I believe we could get a conviction, a criminal conviction for murder, for homicide? He ain't said that. Or if he has, I haven't heard it.
No, I haven't.
He says, I could, if he was alive today, we could get a criminal indictment. Of course he could. If you're a prosecutor, convene a grand jury and go in there and tell them, and they're going to give you an indictment. That's not a reward. You don't get a trophy for getting an indictment. An indictment is convincing somebody of what you just told them is the truth, and they say, yep. Reference to the broke nose.
Yeah.
Evidence that she went to the hospital with her broke nose. Look up the medical records. This is not Sheila and I.
No.
Ever who posted this on.
That was a good question.
Wasn't it, babe?
Yeah, buddy. See, we stated in the last video, I think it was, when they were talking about the broke nose. Was it from Mr. Pusser or was it from Mr. Vance?
Yeah.
How long ago had that been? And like that person said, were there any medical records? If it was from Mr. Pusser, there should be a medical record on file during that time frame. And if it was from Mr. Vance, there should be possibly one.
And Sheila come up with that because she was talking, because Mr. Davison wants to keep talking about the autopsy report where it says she had a fractured nose at one time. Had healed, but it was fractured at one time. And they said, oh, that's from a domestic. Guys, how can you assume? How can you assume such a thing as a broke nose? A broke nose can come from anything. Could have hit the dashboard of a car in an accident. Anything.
A frisbee, anything. A football,
trampoline.
Baseball.
We've seen,
yeah.
Where could that have come from And then Sheila says, how about the ex-husband? Well, we start doing research,
Mhm.
and we're finding out that the reason that she left, she married a guy from Pike County,
Yeah.
Pikeville, Kentucky. That's where we're from, born and raised.
Yeah. Our neck of the
Pikeville,
woods.
Kentucky. What was his first name?
Roman
Something
Pete.
Vance.
He went by Pete, I think.
Pete was his
Roman
nickname.
Pete
Vance.
Vance. Mm-hmm.
And they were married, I forget how many years. It's probably in our notes as we go along.
I'm thinking, I could be wrong, but I'm thinking 10 or at least 9 because I think she married Mr. Pusser in 59. She married Mr. Vance in 49 and Mr. Pusser in 59.
Great, babe.
So
she married Pusser in 59 and she died in 67. 8 years, something like that.
Something like that.
So they were married about 8 years. Now, guys, Buford Pusser's doctor was Dr. Pillar, as far as I can recall. My doctor and Sheila's doctor are the same. We usually go with where we only got 2 or 3 doctors over the years, and we go when one retires, we go to another, but we go to the same doctor usually. I would say that if somebody would go back through Dr. Pillar's TBI, I'm sure they've
done that.
Not. I know. I feel you, but I'm sure I'm sure they haven't, because that would be exculpatory. If you're trying to prove that Buford Pusser broke her nose in a domestic, which is what they're implying, they're implying that, they've had a domestic in the past and he's broke her nose. So you're not going to go try to find a medical record where she was in a car wreck or she done something and broke her nose and she had to go to Dr. Pillar or to the hospital there in McNairy County. 1967. There would have been medical records. They're probably stored away in the attic or the basement somewhere, but wouldn't it be something to find that medical record?
Yeah.
Researchers out there, a medical record where she had her nose broke in a car accident or.
Yeah.
She ran off, going back to Pete Vance. She ran off to Chicago. Remember, she
was from Virginia.
Yeah.
And she met, I guess, I'm assuming now, I don't know, in Pike County is where he was from. So that's where they got married at.
Yeah,
right?
but where did she meet Buford Pusser at?
In Chicago.
In Chicago.
You're right.
She had ran from Pikeville, Kentucky to Chicago to get away from Pete Vance. She had 2 children at the time, took them,
Diane and Michael.
And that's where she met Buford Pusser. They got together and moved back to Adamsville, Tennessee, where he became the sheriff. Why did she run? Why did she run from Pike County or Virginia even to Chicago, guys? Mr. TBI, Mr. Davison. Why did she run all the way from Pikeville, Kentucky to Chicago? What was she running from? Maybe abuse, maybe not. Hypothetical opinion, allegedly. Could it have been Mr. Vance? Go ahead, babe. I hear you.
Yeah. No, I was just say, did she have family there up in Chicago at that time?
I don't know.
I know, I've seen somewhere, I think where she had 2 sisters that lived in Chicago, but I don't know if they lived up there at that time.
I don't know.
So why Chicago? I'm thinking his family.
Yeah. But she got away.
Right. She had a place to go. Yeah.
She left Pikeville. She ran to Chicago. Why? Could it have been? Why did she get a divorce? What was the reason? Maybe a good researcher, because we're not that into it. We're into this. But a good researcher could go to Pikeville maybe.
Yeah.
And find a criminal record, find a divorce record.
And see what the reason.
1949, you said they got married or they got divorced?
They got married in 49.
I wonder when they got divorced.
I don't know. See, that's the thing. I know she was, if I'm correct, she married Mr. Pusser in 59. So somewhere in that time frame, she was divorced. I don't know.
Guys, look at the dates. Some date says she was born in 1931. Some dates says 1934.
Maybe it all depends on when Michael, the son, was born. You could say it was either around that time or after his birth.
Why?
For the divorce.
Okay. That's smart.
See what I'm saying?
At least they were still married at that point. Smart, babe. I thought you was talking because I knew Diane was the oldest.
Right. I think he was born I think Diane was born in 1950. So
But talking about the marriage and how old she was when they got married, how old she was when, when was she born, 31 or 34? Because people lie on their marriage license. People lie. Was she 16 and said she was 18? Was she actually born? Does the TBI actually have a birth certificate for Pauline Mullins Pusser? That'd be the first thing I would clear up. And Sheila and I will probably go to Virginia one day and
So I'll see if we can find one.
see if we can find it.
Yeah.
Because nobody has produced it yet. 1967 won't be no problem finding a birth certificate. Was she born in 1934 or 1931? Did she just tell people she was 18 so she could get married, but she was actually 16? We don't know. TBI, this would be something surely people that's so involved in investigating something and getting to the truth instead of just defaming somebody,
right?
They would want to investigate it all the way. So in that 1,000 pages there, surely her birth certificate, now her Social Security or whatever might be redacted, but we should have a birth certificate showing the year. Because that birth certificate may be different than what's on that tombstone. Maybe she told everybody. Who knows?
Yeah.
So while drumming up 15 minutes of fame for themselves, that's what we got. We got people drumming up 15 minutes of fame. That's what this is, in my opinion. Museum should be the busiest it's ever been. That museum, and Sheila and I are going to go. By the time you see this video, you're probably going to see a live of me and Sheila down in McNairy County, Tennessee, and we're going to try to visit the graveyard, the museum, all these places that Buford Pusser was at. So they're going to at least get 2 people that they've never got or wouldn't have got until these prosecutors and TBI go ahead.
Until all this come about.
Yeah.
And so that made us curious as to see, go down there and look at things. And
I'll support them just to support them, just because we feel that he's been falsely accused, falsely slandered, falsely. We don't see the evidence. We don't see the overwhelming, beyond a reasonable doubt, guilty verdict evidence.
Right.
A shotgun or 30 caliber. We know there was 30 calibers there because 30 calibers is what got Buford. It's what took his jaw off. Now, they say a close range pistol shot, a close range pistol, 357, because Buford carried a 357 Magnum. Do you all want to know what a 357, especially up close, would do?
He wouldn't have survived.
No. If he did survive it, you wouldn't seen meat hanging. There was no dots. There was no powder.
Right, residue
on his face, polka dots. There was no specks where it was a close-up shot. That was a drive-by. That was far enough away till the powder, what powder was left over from the flash, the muzzle flash between the 2 cars. Boom, shot, muzzle flash disappears in the wind. Bullet goes straight ahead.
Traveling.
Or they're driving by when he's checking on Pauline, how they say it went. And they shot him there, but they were at a distance greater than with polka dot, and powder residue all over his face. On her shotgun or 30 caliber, or both. Or both. Read the newspaper of 1967. It says shotgun blast also for Pauline. Where'd they get that from? TBI's investigating it. The TBI is the spokesperson for the newspaper. Where'd they get that from? That's exculpatory, because Mr. Davison and the TBI people, they didn't mention. Now, that may be in their report, maybe in this 1,000-page report. Let's hope it is, because we're hoping nothing was taken out that was exculpatory towards Buford and just removed, so people can only have a one-track mind. They can, because there's newspaper articles out there in 1967 where TBI investigator told or state police, law enforcement officer told the state police or told the newspaper that there was a shotgun blast. It could be shown through the window. You can see the rear window that's shot out of the car. Could that be a shotgun? Pretty big hole.
It was. Yeah.
Where is the car? Guys, the key evidence here, they're acting like this gun that this guy says, hey, we're going to get to it in a minute. Sheila, you remember how many M1s was manufactured in the 40s and 50s?
6 point so many million?
6.2 million.
Okay, I knew it was 6.
Way to go. 6.2 million.
That's a lot, guys.
6.2 million rifles. M1 rifles, carbines. We had one car. One car they were shot up in.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been any rifle out there, any M1 30 caliber. But we've only got one car that they were riding in.
Right.
And we don't have the car, but we're going to try to prove a case 58 years later. We don't have we talk about blood splatter on a hood, but we don't have nothing to compare it to or take a DNA and see if that's Buford Pusser's blood or is that her blood.
Mm-hmm.
We have a feeling it's Buford Pusser's, but it doesn't matter because it's irrelevant. They've got a picture that they showed somebody and said, look, if you don't have the blood splatter, if you don't have the car, if you don't have something to prove the case with evidence, don't bring it up, guys. That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair. 58 years later, I can show you a picture of me when I was a baby and I had hair in the 5th grade and I had hair. I ain't got no hair today. How can you feel good about yourselves to do that? Autopsy says fragments. When we do this autopsy report, you're going to be enlightened. When we get up to an hour, it's going to have to be 4. We're going to have 5 videos, looks like.
Oops.
This will be one video, and then we'll
do the autopsy.
Autopsy says that there was fragments collected, bullet fragmentations collected. Bullet fragmentations from what? A bullet, a slug? Was it a bullet from a pellet from a shotgun? Or was it a fragment from a 30 cal? Because see, if it's a fragment, you're probably not going to be able to get the raffling, the twist of the barrel in there where you might be able to identify it or fire around and see if you can compare it. If it's fragments, they may not be enough there to compare to if a person does it fairly, honestly, and professionally in the way it should be done in law enforcement. Guys, law enforcement isn't always fair. Law enforcement isn't always honest. Sometimes law enforcement seeks to get the evidence to suit their narrative. I'm sorry to say that. And I'm seeing that more and more, even in this case. You have a narrative that you want to reach, and that's the evidence you try to go after to prove that narrative.
So you're trying to persuade.
The narrative here is to say Buford Pusser killed his wife. So anything that we can use, any kind of bullcrap autopsy report that we can say, oh yeah, she died by a gun. She died by, I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
She died by gunfire and was killed. Did we have to dig her up for that? You could have read the local newspaper, but that looks good in that 1,000-page report to say, hey, and they've asked for every kind of test. They've asked for her fingerprints. Whoa. So we've got a lab request for fingerprints. We're going to have another lab print out where the results of the fingerprints was hers. Fingerprints? Has anybody ever doubted that Pauline Pusser was the one killed?
Or is in that?
Nobody's ever doubted that, or that she's in the casket. But that gives more pages. That adds more evidence to make it look like, yeah, we got over 1,000 pages. What was the word he used? Voluminous? Huh? Yeah.
Voluminous.
Yeah, we got voluminous pages of documents. Fingerprints. How's that prove that Buford Pusser killed his wife? Her fingerprints proves that Buford Pusser killed his wife. Guys, I hope you're catching me. I hope you are. I hope you're seeing what I'm saying.
You're not trying to be mean. You're just trying to.
I'm not trying to be mean at all. I know I probably sound like that. I get loud. I'm trying to prove my case, our case. I'm trying to prove our side of it.
We're backing up what we're saying.
If we're wrong, maybe they'll prove us wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So far, they haven't. Everything that we have seen in autopsy reports and news reports with them out of their own mouth. It likely happened. It's more likely than not we believe, guys, we don't attack people's credibility and their reputation on what we believe. We need proof.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fragments from shotgun pellets or the rifle, the 30 caliber. There needed to be an independent ME with no agenda. We're hoping in those 1,000 pages of reports that somewhere in there, one of those people they named was an independent. Somebody that had no bearing on this case that was in that autopsy with them, in case the family ever did sue, in case the family ever did need representation on without digging her back up again. But see, even if you dug her back up again, it wouldn't be the same as the first time. So we're hoping there was an independent person there that didn't have a narrative, that didn't have that didn't want to reach a certain goal.
Mm-hmm.
The goal that they wanted to reach here, the TBI and the prosecutor, it's not hard to see. The goal that they were trying to reach was that Buford Pusser was guilty of killing his wife. That's the narrative that they were on. They exhumed Pauline. Go ahead, Pump.
Oh, I don't have anything to say. No, I was just looking over there to see. It said they exhumed Pauline February the 8th of 2024.
2024 is when they dug her up. And I think they done the autopsy on the very next day, 2029. Time of exam was 8:30 a.m. Date of exam is the 9th, the very next day. So they've taken her from the grave, put her in the freezer, in the fridge, got her code where you wouldn't have nothing. Next day, they've done the autopsy on her.
Okay.
Says large amount of information still to review. What is it? Mr. Davison says there's a lot of information still to be reviewed. What is it? You've made this accusation that Buford Pusser killed his wife. You didn't make an accusation. You said it happened. Buford killed his wife. That's what he says 2 or 3 times in a taped interview that I watched. Not alleged, that says a lot, guys, when a prosecutor, especially the chief prosecutor or whatever he is there, where is the car? Need the car, not pictures, but the car. So-and-so says Buford walked on both sides of the law. Where's the proof? That's this author. I'm not going to say his name.
Right.
I'm not going to give him the plug. This author, this bus driver says Buford Pusser walked on both sides of the law. Where's the proof, guys? Where's your criminal indictments for that? You can get an indictment for anything. Was he ever indicted for taking a bribe? Was he ever indicted for taking payoffs? Was he ever indicted for doing anything illegal? Where's he at? We've got a military record. We've got a wrestling record. We've got all these things that they kept for ever and ever. Where's the indictment? That's slanderous. That's slanderous. From a book writer that's slanderous. He walked on both sides of the law. Where is the proof? What, babe?
And didn't we see where in our last video where they were trying to get him to run as governor?
One of them run for governor at one time. Boys, when you make these comments, imagine when you're gone. Imagine when you guys are gone. And I've said this before, and I've used it for an example. Even this guy. Imagine when he's gone, somebody comes up there and says, hey, this guy here, when he was a law enforcement officer, he did this, he did that. Let's indict him for it. All it takes is them to go before a grand jury. They're not going to indict a dead person, but you can still come out and say anything. Do you guys not realize what you opened here as far as a person's, that anybody can say anything about any of you when you're dead and gone? Maybe it don't matter to you. Only person Buford's got left is his granddaughter, it looks like. His daughter's died in 2018.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Dewana.
Died in 2018. Tried to keep her father's memory alive for years and years. And imagine you guys and your kids, having your kids, and after you're dead and gone, somebody comes up with an accusation. If that's all it takes anymore, it's just to hold a news conference, because the news will report. You call the news conference, say, hey, I want to tell you something on Mr. Davison here. And then they'll gather around because everybody loves bad news. Everybody, that's a story. And especially with YouTube, and he says this or that, do we print that? Do we do a video on that just because it was said and destroy probably a person's reputation that's been a good person all of his life? I don't know his.
I agree.
If it happens to anybody else, then just say you reap what you sow. You reaped what you sow. This is a bad precedence to start on people 58 years later and they're dead and can't take up for themselves. Buford was right-handed, but he was shot in the left jaw. I don't have a training. We usually keep a training.
I
That's
don't
okay.
have no. I got.
Can you imagine taking your right hand with a 357 Magnum or even a 30 caliber and shooting yourself through the jaw?
Yeah.
You could do it easier with the 30 cal probably. Put the barrel up there. It's going to blow your face off even worse than it did. It's a good thing it wasn't any closer. Buford Pusser was right-handed.
Yeah.
Shot in the left jaw. Car. I'm driving down the road, a car passing by. Boom. Guys, we don't have the expertise that the TBI's got, the FBI. Sheila brought that picture up real close, and we again, guys, we are nobody.
Exactly.
We are nobody. Look at that picture in the second video, the real bloody picture. Have you ever seen a target? When you shoot a target, especially with, I got it, especially with wad cutters, when you're just target practicing, and you make a hole in the target, and there's your bullet hole. And then you look at the target when you go up there and look at it.
It's got little lines.
I can't see here. I'm doing it backwards, and you've got where it split the paper.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, and this may not have nothing to do with it. Look at Buford's face. Bring it in real close. And look where he's shot. And see, because that one guy says it was shot from the inside out. Really? Wouldn't the bigger explosion be on the outside?
Well,
why do we have... Go ahead, babe.
If he was shot from the inside out, he would have more damage on,
From what?
From the percussion, the explosion.
From the gases.
Thank you. I couldn't think of it.
No, thank you for bringing that up because you're exactly right.
Because that would be a bigger...
The gases, which what blows people when they put the gun inside their mouth and close their mouth to commit suicide, blows the whole top of their head off. The gas, not the bullet, but the gas. Imagine a 357. Going back to this picture, look at this picture where Buford's jaw is blown out, his face. And look back here, right where it goes in.
Right.
She'll include the picture here.
Yeah.
And she'll even point some lines to it. But you're going to see at least three little creases where that bullet hit initially.
You can't see it there
to go through.
There's the three.
There's your three.
You can see it here, but I don't know if they can see it. But
You'll show it. You're going to point it to them. And she's going to show you these little creases and see if that don't look where the bullet went in because it came out bigger on the other side. I think they made the story to fit their narrative, or they thought they were going to. They're not counting on everybody like you guys out there. I know we got them on here that's the other way. It says, Buford, what's your reason for saying that? Did you not like Buford? Did you look at the evidence? And if you can show something in the evidence, don't use your opinion. Prove us wrong with the evidence. Say, hey, this happened, that happened. Here's the evidence of it. That's what we like. We don't want your opinion because we've got opinions.
Everybody.
But we're trying to show you through that. That's not an exit wound. That's an entrance wound. And here's the other side here. And like Sheila says, it would have blown his mouth plumb off.
It would have, yeah.
The gases. Guys, that's going to conclude this video. Sheila's going to do the closing. Thanks so much. Now listen, this is number 4. Come back for number 5.
Stay tuned.
Because we've got a lot more here that's going to prove the case. And if you want the evidence, we're going to show it to you. You can still believe how you want.
Sure. That's good. Thanks for watching today, guys. We hope you're doing well. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye. God bless.
Thanks, guys.